guys, Papa Pepper, back out of Mexico, back out of Texas, back in my garden today, and I'm going to do another pepper test for you guys today. Nice review. But these are ones I did not grow. I've definitely grown these before, but these ones are ones that I picked up in Mexico. So down on the street of Mexico, you can get these Pequin peppers, and often it'll be like $1 or $2 for a bag like this. And they're these tiny little ones. There's a couple varieties. These ones are a little bit bigger than some of the other ones I picked up. But you can get them either fresh like this or dried. And one thing is, if you're gonna keep them, you know, I kept these in the bag for a couple days now. We drove all the way back with them. But this bag has little holes in it. So that lets moisture and air, you know, in and out, where if you just get them in a bag and you leave them, they're gonna mold on you. They're gonna rot on you. So here, I'll open this up quick. Bought this for, I think, $2. So the nice thing about that is $2 is about nothing. I've got over 200 in here, so that's like a cent a piece or better, and I didn't have to do any of the work. So at first they're gonna be nice and green, and then eventually they'll ripen to an orange or red. At this point they'll fall right off the stem. So if you're picking them down there, and these were all picked green, I believe, but if you're picking them when they're red, you just grab them and they come right off the stem, real nice and easy. Pequin peppers, and these guys are amazing because although they're tiny, they've got such a nice heat level to them. I remember once I had one in my mouth. I was walking along an irrigation canal of some, you know, nasty kind of grayish water. It had a lot of soft-shell turtles in it, but I had one in my mouth, and you know, if you got one in your mouth, it's not a big deal until you break the skin. And I absentmindedly crunched down on that pepper, and I felt so bad. I'm like, oh, I'm so far from water. This stuff here is really nasty. I can't drink it. What am I gonna do? But the field next to me was actually sugarcane. So I broke that and was able to, you know, alleviate some of my pain. So I'm gonna crunch this one at the moment. Oh. Oof. The flavor is so distinct. My whole back of my throat right now is kind of engulfed in heat. And, wow. Very impressive. I ground it up really good and swallowed it. The heat is, it's consistent. Kind of like the second it happens, it's there and it's everywhere. Whew. Hit me hard in the back of the throat right now. It's different than a habanero flavor. But these guys do really well as far as a hot pepper. I like them because you can use them right away, and a little dab will do you. I like them because you can drop like a couple of these when you pickle, like pickles or different eggs or things like that. And just by hanging out with these, you know, in the brine, it saturates everything else in the jar, which gives it a really good heat. A lot of people will just dry these down there and then either mortar and pestle them and add them to eggs or things like that. And again, as far as a spice, as far as a seasoning, these guys go a long way, these Pequin peppers. One thing I like is that down there, they'll get very woody on the plants, and they'll turn into like a whole bush. I've seen some pretty good, where if you had a small, like a Geo Metro, I've seen them almost like that big. And before, I've grown these and kept them in a pot, and we would just put it outside in the summer and bring it inside in the winter. I had one for somewhere between 3 to 5 years. It got about 5 feet tall. It was spread out pretty nice, and we definitely enjoyed them. People also call these bird peppers because you can find them wild across, you know, the southern United States in different places, in Mexico, and the birds will actually eat them. And then when they head somewhere else and they defecate, they'll drop the seeds somewhere else. So they'll spread them all over the place. I remember one of my wife's aunts down in Texas had one growing in a different, she had a potted cacti, and there was one growing in there. So next to her little cactus was a Pequin pepper plant. And now that was actually one that she gave to us too. But she didn't plant it there, it was just planted by the birds. So these guys, if you're looking for something that can put out a lot, that's easy to pick, because like I said, they'll just fall right off the stems when they're ripe like this, and they'll be all over the plant. These ones, based on the way they're looking, I'm gonna guess that when they're on the plant they grow upright. If you guys saw my Amarillo Pequin, they'll grow upright on the plant like this, and you just grab them off when they're red. They'll be ready. Since they're a nice thin-walled pepper, they do grow well, dehydrate well on their own, just leaving them out on the counter in the sun. Some of my bigger ones, like my ghosts, you know, I've got to cut them open and to actually have them dry out on their own, or you can dehydrate them too. But if you just leave them there sitting there full, they're gonna rot, they're gonna mold, they're gonna get yucky. Where these, if they're spread out, they won't. Like I say, you leave them in a bag, they'll get yucky on their own. But to me, these are viable seeds. I can grow these myself now. I didn't have to do any work harvesting all these. You know, like I said, like about $0.01 a piece, because I've got more than 200 in there, and I paid $2 for this. And absolutely something I like to pick up every time. And it was fun too when we were sampling them, because they had a whole tray of them there in Mexico. I'm like, oh, these are good, huh? They're like, oh yeah, you want one? And like one guy looks at me, he's like, are you sure? I was like, oh yeah. You know, I gave it a go. But some people would completely freak out just on this tiny pepper too. And there's some that are shaped more like Tic Tacs too. So it looks like a little red Tic Tac, but it's definitely not a breath mint. So Pequin peppers, straight out of Mexico. I love these guys. Have been enjoying them for over a decade now down there. Used to know a couple places where some old, you know, trees or bushes kind of were of them, but some of those aren't there anymore. Give you a closer look on that. But there they are. Beautiful, tiny little peppers, and you know, like I said, a little dab will do you. They pack quite a punch. Very impressive, you know, for their size. So I definitely like checking them out. A good buy in my opinion. And like I said too, then I've got seeds whenever I want to grow my own, and they can survive for years. All right, I'll bag these back up and pop out. As always, I'm Papa Pepper, and I'd like to remind you, don't post for free. If you'd like to be part of a revolution in social media, an economic power to the people where users can actually blog for cryptocurrency, then I'd recommend that you check out steemit.com and join the revolution. Papa out.